ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أول الوقت
Yeah, I can see it.
It's raining.
Yes, I am.
عن أنس بن مالك رضي الله عنه أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كان إذا دخل الخلاء قال اللهم إني أعوذ بك من الخبث والخبائث.
نعم, that's what how much you have, yes? طيب. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. وبعد, we started last week about the hadith Anas ibn Malik في باب الاستطابة, باب الدخول الخلاء والاستطابة. And we mentioned, I think just briefly, because the time wasn't promising, yes? We mentioned the meaning of the bab, yes? As we see, Ibn Abdul Ghani al-Maqdisi rahimahullah, in the chapter of Tahara, in Kitab al-Tahara, he add on it, bab dukhul al-khala wal-istitaba. So we mentioned the reason why the ulama adatan, when they write the books, they usually start with the kitab, then sometime bab, sometime fasl, sometime bahth or mabhath. So the reason why they do this, if the subject is connected with each other. Usually when the subject, any subject which you try to compile everything what has to do with the subject, they put kitab. Kitab mean من الكتيبة, يعني أجمع لك كل شيء ما يتعلق بالطهارة. I'm combining or collecting everything regardless what has to do with tahara. But if there is some branch, it's part of the tahara, and is in same time, yarhamukallah, is same time is referring to different subject, but has a little bit leaning towards the tahara, they use a bab. Because a bab is, in linguistics, we mentioned huwa al-furja, is the gap we transfer you from outside to inside. That's what the door means, yes? Linguistically. Or from outside to inside. As Allah says, udkhulul baba sujada. So why the ulama rahimahullah, they mention bab, dukhul al-khala. Some of the ulama, they try to give you a sweet explanation. He say because usually the knowledge required a door. Knowledge, any knowledge you take required a door. Because when you say, for example, bab dukhul al-khala, it try to tell you because this is the door which will transfer you from the ignorance of this subject to the knowledge of this subject. Because soon you start enter to this subject, then this subject you wasn't known before, now this subject give you some knowledge. So actually transfer you from the state of the ignorance or the jahl to the state of knowledge what this subject. That's why they use the word bab. Because that will transfer you from one position to another position. And also we mentioned why the Musannif rahimahullah, he put this bab of dukhul al-khala, he put it under the Kitab al-Tahara. Which means we can come to the point of the first point we mentioned before, munasabatul hadith. What this hadith, the connection of this hadith with the chapter of the Tahara. Why the Musannif rahimahullah mentioned the hadith of Anas, إذا دخل الخلاء كان النبي إذا دخل الخلاء قال اللهم إني أعوذ بك من الخبث والخبائث. So what's the connection? What this hadith has to do with the chapter of Tahara? Can you just remind us quickly, Sheikhi?
Before I was going, because maybe the kitab is like a house, and bab is like doors of the house. Like
we just mentioned about, yeah, you can, kitab is min katiba. كتب شيء يعني أجمع من جمع. كتيبة الفلان, you know, katiba is a group of the people. If you, so that min al-kitab. which means you collect everything on it, you compile everything on it. But now the reason why the Imam Abdul Ghani put this chapter under the chapter, this subject under the chapter of Tahara. Sheikh Ibrahim, you think you can give me a little bit? Sheikh Rayan. Any reason why? If somebody asks Sheikh, what this chapter Dukhul Khala has to do with the chapter of Tahara? And why he has to put it there? What's the reason, Sheikh? Can I repeat the question? What is the reason of this hadith to Mu'allif Abdul Ghani to put it under the chapter of Tahara? What is the reason? How we can connect it? Did he just put the hadith because he didn't have nothing else to do, or there is a connection behind it? Yes, Sheikh.
Obviously, we start Tahara with going to the bathroom. The bathroom, that's how we clean it out.
Sheikh. Do you have any idea, Sheikh? What about you?
You said how the door transfers, maybe.
That is about the definition of the bab. But I'm talking about now, he's talking about the bathroom. What the bathroom has to do with the Kitab al-Tahara. You remember when we was talking about the Tahara, we said that Tahara is divided into two branches, yes? Tahara min al-Hadath and Tahara min al-Khabath. Remember? Hadath, the act which nullify wudu, the act. Like sleeping, yes, passing wind. This is the act, which there is no substance and impurity, but this is the act which nullify, and this requires wudu and ghusl. You remember? And we talk about the ghusl in so many ahadith. But also there is another tahara min al-khabath, tahara from the substance which nullify you purification, and that is like urine, like pieces of human feces, or the impurity of your clothes, or your place what you praying. So in this case, this hadith has to do with a taharatul khabath, because that's what the Prophet ﷺ was trying to talk about, as we're going to mention this hadith and the hadith of the Abu Ayyub al-Ansari. So the ulama rahimahullah, he mentioned this hadith because it has to do with the sum of the purification, or showing us the path of the Prophet ﷺ, how he was taking care of himself physically and spiritually when he has to do with the purification of the khabath, of the substance which nullify your wudu. And from the عادة من عادة العلماء أنهم إذا تكلموا في باب الخلاء, عادة of the ulama, when they talk about the chapter of khala or qada al-haja, usually they talking about the ahkam الشرعية المتعلقة بهذا الباب. Usually they talk about the whole ahkam, all the rules of the sharia, what they have to do with this subject. What is the subject we're talking about? Is the subject of call of nature, yes? Subject of the bathroom. So the ulama, when they talk about the subject of the bathroom, they usually try to compile on it everything what has to do, any rule what has to do with this kind of etiquette. Yes, Sheikh Ibrahim? And those rules, for example, could be action of the Prophet, could be the saying of the Prophet, could be the action before he's going to the bathroom, and could be the action during the process of the bathroom, and could be the action after the bathroom. So they put this all in order. For example, some of the etiquettes what we have before going to the bathroom, يعني أفعال قبل دخول الخلاء, we have, for example, to choose the place which no person can see you. Because we have hadith في سنن أبي داود, and also hadith في سنن ابن ماجه, hadith جابر بن عبد الله رضي الله عنهما أنه قال أن الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا أراد البراز, يعني براز, when you want to go to the bathroom, كان ينطلق إلى مكان حتى لا يراه الناس. He was going in a place which no one can see him. So this is one of the etiquettes. If the person, for example, happen to be in an open field, sometimes they just go in a corner over there, and they say, I'm far away from the people, but they can see his back, but he just turned the back to them. No, the Prophet wasn't doing this. He was going completely hiding. Sometimes you see the people when they're in trip in bus, and he just got out from the bus, and he go in a corner over there, and he urinate, for example. And this etiquette, the Prophet he told us, one of the first etiquettes to you choose the place is what? to make sure you are away from the eyes of the people. And this could be regardless your eyes from the people physically, or you see sometimes the person is in the bathroom and he's talking with his opponent in the next door, like he is in a room. This kind of stuff, the Prophet he forbid us to do such a thing. Why? Because you are actually exposing yourself, because you are in a place which you have to be silent, because that is the place which is فيه خبث وفيه خبائث. Yes? So also كذلك من آداب from the etiquette, where the Prophet told us, أثناء, before you go to the bathroom, we have the hadith Anas. But this etiquette has to do with the sayings of the Prophet. The dua, what we mentioned before, we enter to the bathroom, I was going to explain inshallah. But also we have for some of the etiquettes doing the bathroom. And that is the hadith of Abi Ayyub al-Ansari, as we're going to mention. ماذا قال حديث البخاري ومسلم؟ قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا أتيتم الغائط فلا تستقبلوا القبلة ولا تستدبروها. If you go in the bathroom or any call of nature, regardless is in a bathroom or outside, make sure you do not face the qibla, or do not leave the qibla behind your back. Yes, this is from the etiquette doing the bathroom. Which way you have to turn when you are in a call of nature. And we have also hadith في Sahih Muslim, hadith Abu Hurairah, إذا جلس أحدكم على حاجته فلا يستقبل القبلة ولا يستدبرها. إذا جلس أحدكم على حاجته. If somebody sits, so he in a call of nature, so he can release himself from that filth which Allah Azza wa Jalla has made. So in this case, for example, the Prophet said, do not turn to the Qibla, neither leave the Qibla behind your back. Which means, make sure the Qibla is either in the left, or either in the right, or either in the left. And we have hadith في Tabrani, hadith بسند صحيح, في الترغيب والصحيح hadith Abu Hurairah. The Prophet ﷺ also, he mentioned to us, قال من لم يستقبل القبلة ولا يستدبرها إذا أتى الغائط أو إذا أراد الغائط. If the person do not face the Qibla or do not leave behind when he wants to go in call of nature, what Allah has done, He say, كُتِبَتْ لَهُ حَسَنًا. Allah will write for him one hasana. Subhanallah, you are in a bathroom and you still getting a reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَيُمْحَ مِنْهُ سَيِّئًا. And Allah Azza wa Jalla wipe away from him one sayyah, one sin what he has done. So this is from the mercy of Allah Azza wa Jalla to this ummah, to have Allah Azza wa Jalla chose him. So even when in the call of nature, he is under that worship of Allah, which Allah wipe him away a sin and give him a hasana. So the dalika also from the adab, what the ulama talk. Yes, brother.
You said that if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wiped away the sin,
the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, if somebody goes in the bathroom and he doesn't face the qibla and doesn't live bigger, then Allah wipes away one sin and also write for him one hasana. Mashi? Also bin adab to choose the place. Not just to be hidden, also to make sure that place has been chosen. Which means you are not allowed to do in a place where the people, they use it for rehabilitation, under the tree, or in the street, or in a place where the waters usually go. That's what the Prophet ﷺ told us in hadith of Sahih Muslim. قال رسول الله اتقوا لعنين. Be aware from the two cursed places. La'anain, which means the places which you go there, you will be cursed by the people, and also you will be cursed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَقَالُوا يَا رَسُولَ مَا لَعَنَانِ. What is those two places which I can deserve a curse from Allah Azza wa Jal? قال صلى الله عليه وسلم, the first one, قال عند طريق الناس. Places where the people usually walk. Some people, like I say, when you stop with the car and you go right in the street over in the corner and he urinate. Or if you see nobody's there and he's just in the street and he urinate. The Prophet ﷺ say, الذي يتخلى أو يتغضى في طريق الناس أو في ظلهم. أو في ظلهم. ما معنى ظلهم? The shade of the trees. But usually people, they go behind the tree, and that tree usually the people use it For example, it's not like a bushes nobody can get, but it's like in a park or stuff like that. So we have to, the Prophet told us how to choose the etiquette. If you find a place, yes, it's far away from the people, but make sure it does not belong to this. And also Hadith Mu'adh, which we have in Sunnah Abi Dawud and Ibn Majah, قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم اتقوا ملاعين اتقوا ملاعين يعني موضع اللعنة. Be aware from the place which you can get a curse. قال صلى الله عليه وسلم ثلاث براز في الموارد براز في الموارد براز, it means to go in the bathroom in a place mawarid. Mawarid is usually the place where the majari al-ma, the place where the water usually gets collected and go through. When it's the rain, there is a place where the water gets collected. So the Prophet said, don't do in those places, because usually the water can be used by animals or can be used by even by the people. وكذلك قارعة الطريق. قارعة يعني the corner. قارعة الطريق, the corner of the street. Yes? And also the third one is al-dhil, what we just was talking about. So this is the etiquette when we see the ulama rahimahullah, they compile this stuff when they talk about the adab. So we have adab has to do with the saying of the Prophet, we have to do with the action of the Prophet, we have to do before you go to the qada al-hajj, doing the qada al-hajj, after the qada al-hajj. All this, the ulama rahimahullah, they put them together so the person يعبد الله عز وجل على بصيرة. He worships Allah عز وجل, because if something there is a hasana and there is a sayyi'ah and there is a curse, then we have to take this in consideration. We have to take this seriously, because Allah does not put Prophet warning about something unless there is something serious in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. طيب, العبارات الترجمة. يعني as you see, the Abdul Ghani rahimahullah, he choose Bab Dukhul al-Khala wal-Istitaba. He has choose this title. But if you go in other books of the ulama, what's talking about Qada al-Hajjah, you will see Bab Qada al-Hajjah. And the other see Bab مثلا al-Istitaba, as we mentioned. And the other was Bab al-Tabarruz. They use different titles. All of them, they use the title based on the ahadith. For example, the people who bab qada al-hajjah, they use the hadith Abu Hurairah. إذا قعد أحدكم لحاجته. إذا قعد أحدكم لحاجته. يعني if somebody sits, so he can perform his hajjah, which means the bathroom. So they took the hadith إذا قعد أحدكم لحاجته قال باب قضاء الحاجة. Some of them they use bab istitaba. And that is like المصنف رحمه الله, he took the hadith أبي قتادة. وكذلك حديث هذا في البخاري ومسلم. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لا يستطيب أحدكم بيمينه ولا يستطيب أحدكم بيمينه. What does that mean? And do not purify yourself with the right hand. Yes? So they put استطابة. لا يستطيب قال باب الاستطابة, because it has to do with the cleanness or purification during the bathroom. Some of them bab al-khala. Some of them they use bab al-khala. Why khala? He said because the Prophet hadith Anas إذا دخل أحدكم خلا. If somebody enters khala, so they use the word khala and they put chapter about. So they put the title based on the hadith. كذلك some say bab التبرز. تبرز يعني من البراز. But buraz is also the name of the feces, of the human feces. So the same chapter or subject has to do with the human feces, which means it has to do indirectly talking about the bathroom. And they took the hadith of Mu'adh. Hadith of Jannah, Buraz fil mawarid. Yani uttaqul buraz fil mawarid, stay away from to do the bathroom, doing the places where the water is being running through. So all of this can be used, because all of them has to do with some of the hadith of the Prophet about this subject. Matthew Sheikh. Al-Musannif rahimahullah, Abdul Ghani al-Makhdisi, he tried to inform us in this chapter on this subject about the hadi, the path of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam regarding with qada al-hajjah, what has to do with the qada al-hajjah. He started from the aqwal qawliya, what the Prophet was saying, and then he goes in his actions, and also some of the aqwal and also what the Prophet was saying after bathroom. So he put it this to tell us the importance of this deen. Because Allah Azza wa Jalla has honored this deen, and at the same time has honored this ummah. عزها. شرفها وكرمها. He's given this ummah to the honor and dignity to the extent which anything this ummah need to be successful in dunya or akhirah is being explained by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and by His messenger, which means you are not in need of anyone anymore to tell you how to live your life, or how to eat, or how to drink, or how to wear, or how to go in the bathroom, which means the didn't left from the lowest to the highest. And this is barakallahu fiqh what Allah Azza wa Jalla says, أَلَا يَعْلَمُ مَنْ خَلَقَ وَهُوَ اللَّطِيفُ الْخَبِيرُ قُلْ أَأَنْتُمْ أَعْلَمُ أَمِ اللَّهِ. So in this case, barakallahu fiqh, when the person sees how Allah has specified us and blessed us with this deen, Habibi, that's why Salman al-Farisi radiallahu anhu, you remember in the hadith, which is in Sahih Muslim, when the Yahudi came to him and he said, did your Prophet told you everything here how to go in khara, how to do the bathroom? What the Salman al-Farisi? He answered to him with izzah, قال أجل. قال he told us everything. Even he told us how to go in qada al-hajah. He told because this deen, Habib, is start the whole package. Then Allah Azza wa Jal, He has perfect our ni'mah by revealing the ayah, اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي. Ni'mah, any blessing you have, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given it to you. Moreover, not just the Prophet told us about the stuff what we need, what usually we need to know. Even he went deeply and told us some of the umur ghaibiyya which Allah Azza wa Jal only informed the Prophet ﷺ to tell us, because in those places, to be aware, because in those places there are shayateen and jinn, from the male and from the female. So the person, to the believer, to be all the time in the protection. And moreover, Allah has opened another door for the believer. This is min rahmatillah azza wa jal. And by sending this messenger, الذي قال الله عز وجل عنه وما أرسلناك إلا رحمة للعالمين. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في حديث صحيح أنا رحمة مهداة. أنا رحمة مهداة. I am the one who bring mercy and hidayah and guidance. So imagine Allah, He didn't left us even in that time, what you are usually go in the call of nature. Allah from His mercy opens a door so you can be again connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to get the reward by remembering His du'as, by dhikr, and by turning away not from the qibla. And Allah, all this is al-alaqa bayn al-abd wa rabbihi wa huwa, and He is fil qada al-haja. فهذا من تتم هذا الدين. هذا من تتم هذا الدين, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَتَمَّتْ كَلِمَةُ رَبِّكَ صِدْقًا وَعَدْلًا لَا مُبَدِّلَ لِكَلِمَاتِهِ وَهُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ. Surah Al-An'am, ayah 115. وَتَمَّتْ, which means it's completed. The word of Allah, everything you need is there. With sidq, with just. لَا مُبَدِّلَ. There is no need anymore to somebody come and tell you how to live your life. Habibi, this nation, this deen, in the time when Europe was in a darkness, in a mud, they didn't even know what is the water. The Prophet ﷺ was bringing the Sahaba, encouraged them to use the water. Moreover, Allah was revealing the ayah to tell you, because you are among the beloved. Inna Allah yuhibbu at-tawabin wa yuhibbu al-mutatahhirin. Yani deen which is built in the time the people was more in need in water to drink it, because they couldn't find it. Allah was telling this because to use this water to purify itself, even though it's less, He said you are among the loved people in the sight of Allah Azza wa Jal. What this today, even today, Habibi Tam, we will see they have 10 gallons, they flash it to clean the pipes of the bathroom, and he doesn't use one drop for himself. And he can tell you about the hygiene. Allahumma musta'an. Anyway, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has guided this ummah. That's why we have to say, Alhamdulillah, الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. ماشي؟ لقد جاءت رسل ربنا بالحق. This Messenger of Allah, they came, Habibi, with the truth of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. قال رحمه الله باب دخول الخلاء. Khala, we already mentioned, this is the place which usually kinaya is referring to the place which you use for restroom, for bathroom. Regardless if it's in a doors, in a room, or is outside, in a forest, whatever, you have located something to use it for the bathroom. أما الاستطابة فهو من الطيب. استطابة is to beautify something, to make it something beautiful. من الطيب. قالوا هي إزالة الأذى عن مخرجين بماء الطهور أو حجر أو ما يقوم مقامه. الاستطابة هو إزالة الأذى, to remove the filth من المخرجين. Most مخرجين from the front and from the back. That's it, مخرجين, two مخرج. Yes? بماء طهور, with the water, pure water, or with the stone, or with something which is used for that purpose. هذا هو استطابة. طيب. قالوا ما, this is metaphorically referring to the istinja. What is istinja? Who knows the istinja? Istinja, Sheikh, we talk about this. To purify yourself with water. That is istinja. Istijmar, to purify yourself with a ahjar, with a stone. So metaphorically, when they say istitaba, mean yani kina and istinja. Because usually when the person purifies himself with water, what happens? He becomes clean and pure and beautiful. So that's why he is metaphorically using the word about the istinja bimana al-istitaba, ay yatatahhar. يتطهر به, as the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam قال ولا يستطيب أحدكم بيمينه. ولا يستطيب, we just mentioned the hadith. يستطيب أحدكم بيمينه. How do you become purified with your right hand? The Prophet said, do not purify yourself with the right hand. What does that mean? لا يستطيب means do not clean yourself with the water with the right hand. So that's how they took the word istitaba. Some of the hadith use the word kanif, min al-kanaf. We said they come chanaf. Bathroom. Probably you guys heard that, huh? Or some of the words they use marahid. Marahid is also about the bathroom. Or hushush. If you guys know anything. This is also the names what the Prophet was, you call inna hadhihi al-hushush muhtadira. This hushush, they're always the shayateen, they're present on it. So this was the language of the Prophet was using about the bab al-khala. ماشي يا شيخ. طيب. قال المصنف رحمه الله عن أنس بن مالك رضي الله عنه وأرضاه. Now we have to talk about this Sahabi. الله أكبر. هو خادم الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم. أنس بن مالك ابن نضر الأنصاري الخزرجي. أنس بن مالك. His father was named Malik ibn Nadr. And his نضر بالضاد. الأنصاري. لأنه من الأنصار, من أهل المدينة. He wasn't the person who migrated. Al-Khazraji, from the family of the Khazraj. Yes, and his kunya was Abu Hamza. His kunya was Abu Hamza. The one who put this kunya to him was who? Muhammad ibn Abdullah al-Hashimi al-Qurashi. Who is him, ya Abdullah? Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Because this was وهذه من السنة المهجورة. هذه, one of the sunnah was being completely deleted. One of the honors and the sharaf and the dignity of this ummah was to they carry on with their name, then kunya, the laqab. And that's why the Prophet ﷺ, he was, any person he was seeing, he was giving him a nickname. Anas bin Malik, when he saw the Prophet, he was only 10 years. And he said, you are Abu Hamza. His brother Umayr, Ya Aba Umayr. The Prophet was nicknamed him by Aba Umayr. And he was little boy. Ya Aba Umayr, ma fa'al al-Nughayr. He was playing with the Prophet with him because he had a little bird. And that bird he was playing. One day the bird died. So he was sad. So the Prophet was going and saying, Ya Aba Umayr, what happened with the bird? He said, Ya Rasulullah, he died. So the Prophet ﷺ, he was giving the kunya to to the people. From the sunnah is to of the Prophet to the child, regardless he is married or not married, his boy to have a kunya. Because there is the impact on it. Because the child, you prepare him to become a man. You give him honor because when I'm father of somebody, which means you put him because he's ready to be among the people who are fathers. And you feel like he's ready. You training him to be a man, and that's why you get surprised when you see Usama ibn Zayd in 14, 15, he's having the army, biggest Sahaba in the army, and he's the leader. He didn't want to go in the army school or to have a martial degree or to have some. No, Habibi, he's just a little boy. Which means today, probably you cannot find him away from the PlayStation or games. And he is leading what? He's a general of the army, he's a qa'id. And he's in 15 and 16. Because that's how they were preparing. That's why Umar was taking Ibn Abbas, little boy, and among the shuyukh Sahaba, and asking questions, and Ibn Abbas answered to them. Why? Because Muawiyah was taking his son something, because they was training their kids, Habibi, to be ready to carry on the mission with his father, to prepare him for manhood. And one of the reasons, psychology, to train him, he say, you when somebody call you, make sure you tell him, I'm Abu Fulan. Ya Abu Hamza, or Ya Abu Abdullah, and Ya Abu Abdurrahman, and the child, he's not even ready in puberty. But you see, I'm the father of something. So this has prepared today, but unfortunately today, we have when somebody say, man, what's up, Superman? He's so happy. Huh? Or Hulk, or whatever it's called, Spider-Man. He said, man, I'm Spider-Man, Bruce Lee. And you soon you give this name and you feel like he's ready to jump. Because that's how the mind works. But the Prophet was giving different. He was trying to tell him, no, you are father. You are ready to carry on and bring family and bring this. That's how the Prophet was training the Sahaba. And that's why those people, Habibi, brought this deen. And now when you look at about the stories of these people, it says, subhanAllah, can that really happen? So this Anas ibn Malik, a sheikh, he was only 10 years old. But to know who is Anas ibn Malik, you need to know, Habibi, this boy came from where? Who was his mother? Because usually the mother, she is usually the school of the child. But the question is, Sheikh, let me tell you something, ask you something. I mean, I just want to ask you this like in a way to think. Imagine, who of us doesn't want to see the Prophet of Allah? I mean, if somebody said, listen, do you want to see the Prophet? What do you think you will do, Sheikh? Which one you will choose? Sheikh. You see, the Prophet have told us, يَوَدُّ أَحَدُكُمْ لَوْ يَفْتَدِي بِمَالِهِ وَأَهْلِهِ أَنْ يَرَانِي. He's talking about the يَوَدُّ أَحَدُهُمْ. Yani from those people who I didn't see them, they will wish to see me, to sacrifice their wealth, their family, just to see me. Yani somebody tell, listen man, how much you want to give to see the Prophet once? He said, man, what do you want? Blank check, open. You take everything I have, I possess, just let me see the Prophet. Imagine, Habibi, if you are able, Allah has allowed you to stay with the Prophet for 1 hour, just you and him. Nobody else. Or 1 day. Whole day, you with the Prophet of Allah. Can you imagine how you will feel? And Sheikh, imagine somebody say, I was sitting, man, I met one Sheikh. Somebody say, oh, you really met Sheikh Albani? You are sitting with him? He say, yeah. Oh my God. Really, and you're going crazy because he has sit, or he has seen the Sheikh Albani, or seen this Sheikh or that Sheikh. Imagine, Habibi, if somebody has seen the Prophet of Allah, not 1 day, not 1 year, 10 years, Habibi, in his house. In his house. He's sleeping, he's there, he get up, he's there, he's eating, he's there, he's out. 10 years straight to be, what do you expect this man will be a sheikh? But first of all, Habibi, how this child, 10 years old, reached to that level, when Imam said, listen, go and serve the Prophet, I don't want to see you for 10 years, and he's about to give his life to stay with the Prophet forever. 10 years boy, to tell him go and give khidmah to the masjid, and go and memorize the hadith of the Prophet, and go and learn this deen. 10 years boy. What's make this person in 10 years to he be ready to go and help and be khadim of the Prophet of Allah? That is the mother. The mother of Anas ibn Malik, her name was Rumaysa. In some narrations say Rumaysa. Rumaysa or Rumaysa. Sulaym bint Milhan. Sulaym. That's was her nickname. Even though she's also Anas ibn Malik, but she was known by Sulaym. Sulaym bint Milhan. Radiallahu anha. This woman, Habibi, these kind of people we have to read to our kids. This woman was amazing. I mean, if you see her life, I will mention a little bit, she was unique. I mean, she was really something special in all the stuff she does. This woman, Habibi, when she heard, she was in Medina, when she heard about Islam, and she had the little boy Anas, she embraced Islam and her husband wasn't even there. He was traveling. So when he came back, she was already Muslimah and teaching her son the deen and how to love Allah, and the Prophet was yet not to come yet. He's still in Mecca. And when Malik ibn Umdah saw this, he was so angry and he tried anything to return this woman back to the kufr. But she rejected completely. Habibi, this telling you, Habibi, tabat. You know the same fact? You know what the tabat mean? Even though we know the hadith of Ibn Habban في صحيح Ibn Habban, when the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا صلت المرأة خمسها وصام شهرها وحسن فرجها وأطاع زوجها قيل لها ادخل الجنة من أي أبواب الجنة شئت. The Prophet said about the woman, if she pray 5 daily prayers and she fasts Ramadan and she protects herself, her private part, and she obey her husband, Allah will tell her to enter in Jannah of any of the 8 doors she wants. But we also have a hadith in Bukhari Muslim, hadith of the Prophet, قال لا طاعة للمخلوق في معصية الخالق إلا بالمعروف. You're not allowed to obey anyone if he's ordered you to go again to disobey you Lord, no matter who he is. Any person who is to you obey him must be in ma'ruf, he must be in a goodness, and must be ala fil hudud al-taqa, qadr istita'a. Any person tell you to do something, you have 2 conditions he has to fulfill. He must order you for good, that's the only way you can obey him, and to order you in something which you can handle. If somebody says, I want this mountain to turn from here to here, you say, no, I cannot do that. You understand? Except the ta'at al-Rasul, ta'a mutlaqa, except the Prophet of Allah. The obedience of the Prophet is mutlaqa, is absolute. Why? Because he never ordered except bil ma'ruf. And he never ordered you except what you can handle. لأنه لا ينطق عن الهوى إن هو إلا وحيها. So this woman, Habibi, and the Malik ibn Nadar, you know, in Jahiliyyah, they were tough people to the woman disobeying. But she rejected completely. This is a dars, Habibi. We have to sit and teach our daughters this. This is a dars. Imagine the girl, she's always with hijab. And then soon she goes to her husband and say, I don't want you with hijab. I don't want you with the niqab, you know, because the people today. And she I said, my husband, man, what I'm going to do? Really? Or somebody, for example, the daddy said, I want you to shave your beard. I don't want you to go in masjid. I don't want you to be in halaqah. For example. And say, I have to obey. لا طاعة في المخلوق في معصية الخالق إلا بالمعروف. هذا ثبات. This woman, Habibi, to be in that giant man in this kind of thabat. So what happened, Habibi, for example, a man today, to little women come around and he tried to take even the skin out, not just the beard, to make sure nobody knows he is a Muslim or following the sunnah of the Prophet. So when the thabat? And that time there was no rules. So the Sulaym radiallahu anha, she was teaching the son, this Anas, to love the Prophet ﷺ, to love this deen, to love Allah Azza wa Jal. He was training his son so much because he couldn't even wait to meet the Prophet of Allah. He couldn't wait. So you see, Habibi, when the person starts training the child to love the deen of Allah, what do you expect when he grow up? You think he will leave this deen? But what if you sit among today, Habib, with the people today, and you ask them, what do you want? They're talking to the kids and say, my son, I want you to be good, but I want you to be a doctor, to be engineering, to be pilot, or to make a lot of money, and to have a big house. And he trained the child in this way. And then when he grow up, that's what he's looking for. He doesn't care if he can get the money of his father, or make sure he dies so he can possess his money, or make sure his mom is out because he says, I have to feed her. If he stay in my house, that's to go in the nursing home. He will do anything because that's what you have programmed him. You never told him, I want you to be a sheikh. I want you to carry on this deen and to be khadim of the sunnah of the Prophet and to go and memorize the hadith and protect this deen. And who does that today, Habibi? Who is that mother who really thinks like this? And then when the child become 18, 20, they come to the sheikh and they want the sheikh, man, I have problem with my son. He is very rebellious. He doesn't listen to me. He has girlfriend. He has this and he has that. I have yesterday here a girl. She was 17 years old. She came here pregnant and she wanted to do abortion. Because the mom her forced her to do abortion, and the side of that boy forced her to do abortion. I say, how did you fall in this thing? He said, my mom told him to bring him in my house. So the mom told him to bring the man in her house. The boy 25 years old and she's 17. And then she go out and leave her with that man, with the shaitan between. And now when she falls in zina, now she kick her out. And now she call her names. What you expecting? You throw me in a fire and you don't want me to be burned? And now you tell me to commit another, besides zina, to commit another murder, to kill the little person. He came by nature. He came, that's how I made it to come. When a man and female come together, that's what happened. She falls in zina. What you expecting if you fall in zina? Of course the baby is going to come. And now what I'm going to do now, go and kill the baby because it's shame to our family. Really, it wasn't shame to your family to bring that boy sitting in your house? Because we are in America. It's okay, it's just friend. He's my friend in school. We just study together. That's how it goes. So she trained the child in the wrong way. And now when this pop up, then she kicked the child away because she cannot handle it. But Habibi, if you train the child with the deen of Allah from the beginning, you don't need to worry anymore. Tomorrow she will love you or will respect or not. Because when you grow up in this age, Habibi, you will not respect your mom because she is your mom. Neither will you respect your daddy because she is your daddy. You say, man, I have to listen because he's my daddy. No, this is not the case in Islam. You don't listen because she is your daddy. Okay, she is your daddy tomorrow. Tomorrow you will become daddy. And he is still your daddy. So what, when you become daddy, you don't have to listen to your daddy? No. Islam tells you because that daddy is the biggest door of the Jannah. You want to keep the door? Then listen to him. That mom is also to Abu al-Jannah. You want to keep the door? Then listen. So when Islam teaches you, it's not to respect this because he's your father. To respect him because this is Jannah on it. To respect him because that is the door what you trying to go with salah, with zakah, with hajj, with sawm. That door is there. So that's why you listen. But if the child doesn't know, I have to pray. Why I have to pray? Because I have to pray. No, not because you have, because you know the prayer, Habibi, is one of the first deeds which Allah Azza wa Jal will ask you Yawm al-Qiyamah. You have different picture. It's not because my daddy told me to pray. So Habibi, that Sulaym radiallahu anha, she was in an amazing way how she started with her child. And if you see Habibi, the first dahiyah, first sacrifice she did. First sacrifice she did. When Malik ibn Nadr, subhanAllah, he went in the house and Sulaym, she was teaching the Anas to the Shahada, Kalimat Tawheed. How to say La ilaha illallah, what that mean. And when the Malik saw, he said, La tufsid alayya ibni. Did you hear this word? We heard so much. Don't mess up my child. You will corrupt his mind. Today, Habibi, wallahi, the same picture is today. So the daddy sees the daughter, or the daughter start wearing hijab. He says, what's wrong with you? I have to take in a doctor. How can you do that? Look how beautiful you are. Why you have to cover your beauty? You wear hijab when you get married. Not now. And the brother leave the beard and say, what's wrong with you? Look how ugly you look. Why you have to leave this beard? Why you cannot be clean like everybody? Why you going all the time in dars? Why you try to prepare all the time khutbah? Why you listen to this sheikh? Why you listen to this deen? But if he goes to cinema, no problem. Why don't go in mall like everybody else? Why go home have some fun? Yani, and he come and say, those sheikhs, they have messed up my child. The woman came to me, wallahi, and she said, oh, Sheikh, I'm worried about my son. He was such a good person and he changed a lot. He said, why? What happened? I mean, say he was going to cinema and mall and hanging around. Now he has beard and he listens to lectures and he said, this is haram and this is halal and I'm worried about him. Wallahi, that's what she told me. And I'm worried about him. And now that child became turned to square one, the way how she wanted. And now she also worried about him. Because now he doesn't care about anything anymore. But when he was with a beard, she was worried about him. That's exactly the Jahiliyyah said, don't mess up my child. Don't tell him to love the deen. They come in here, the parents say, why are you telling my son to do not waste his time, listen to Harry Potter and watch the Harry Potter? He said, why are you doing that to my child? So she is worried because we tell them, don't listen to Harry Potter. Don't waste your time with the fiction, because your brain will come. Fiction has permanently changed your mind. Habibi, any story you tell to your kids, there is a moral behind. You remember the fox and the grape? Who knows the fox and the grape? Yeah. Exactly. The fox never eats grapes. He doesn't care about grapes. But we put the story because he tried to reach. He cannot reach. He says, he's sour. So we tell the kids, don't be like a fox. Don't be bakhil. Don't be like selfish. You only want to get for yourself. Or the other dog with the bone when he was walking in a bridge from the on top of the wood tree, and he saw himself in the water, and he thought there is another dog has a bone, and he barked on him so we have a moral behind it. Moral behind it. So when you see this kind of fiction and this kind of fairy tales and this kind of thing, this is a permanent change in the mind of child. He says all the time this magic flying here and power and overcoming the power of God and this and devil fighting with God and God one time beat him and one time he's beat him. What happened with this child? What happened? When you tell him tomorrow about Allah and Jahannam and Jannah and Jahannam, he says this is another fairy tale because that's how he thinks. He cannot think anymore reality. You see that little boy watching Tom and Jerry over there and the mom is so happy and he's laughing to Tom and Jerry. Yes, you know Tom and Jerry. And then when he grow up, soon he sent him to the school. After 2-3 days, the principal called and said, well, this child he's mess. He said he just pulled the chair to the people, hit the people, put the trapping down, and he's laughing because that's what he programmed. What the Tom and Jerry does all day. What they do all day? They only making sharks to hurt each other. But that's the Tom and Jerry. He can be flat in the ground and he grow up again. But human being cannot be like this. When you fall in the ground, you don't get up anymore. So Habibi, they think they're doing the job, but they don't doing the job. They're hurting the child. So Habibi, when Sulaim was teaching, the man said, do not mess up my son. And he was so angry and he left out of his house to go in Sham. And he got caught by his enemy and he got killed in the street and he never accepted the deen of Allah. But Sulaim, she was steadfast and she said, I will not take my son away from my breast until he finished the 2 years. And I will not marry unless he tells me to marry. He wants to dedicate her life to this child, Habibi. Imagine this woman, Sulaim. You know who was her second husband? Abu Talha al-Ansari. Abu Talha al-Ansari, Habibi, was one of the richest men. Handsome man, strong man. Even imagine the Prophet ﷺ say about Abu Talha, radiallahu anhu, when he became a Muslim. He said, لصوت أبا طلحة في الجيش خير من 1000 رجل. Just the voice of Abu Talha in the army is more than 1,000 men. Just his voice when he screams. So imagine when he fight. This man, he came to Sulaim with a big amount of money, rich businessman, and asking her hand to get married. He thought he can get the woman with the money, and she laughed at that man, and she told him very beautiful words. I mean, she gave the credit to the man. He said, like you, nobody can do this because the woman of Medina was waiting. Who's going to get this guy? He said, like you, Nobody can reject it. لكنك كافر وأنا مسلمة.
Abu Talha was kafir.
طبعا at that time he was kafir. He said, but you are kafir and I'm مسلمة. فإن أردت الزواج فعليك بالإسلام فإن إسلامك هو مهري. He said, you want to marry me? Then da'wah, Sheikh, da'wah. And then you become Muslim and my mahr is your Islam. The Ravi of Hadith said there is no bigger mahr in whole history of Islam more than the mahr of Sulaim. What was the mahr of Sulaim, Habibi? To make the man Muslim. So he left. And next time again he come with the double money. He thought maybe she is an ass, just playing games. And she come to him and said, listen. Says, I don't need this. I told you who you are. And I told you are kafir. He said, that God what you worship. العبد he said, هو خشب عفوا خشب نبت من الأرض ثم نجرها حبشي بني فلان. He said, that God what you worship. Look, the da'wah, aqliya, hujjah, the woman, you cannot imagine how she thinks. He said, man, that God what you worship is just a tree. Tree came from the ground. And that Habashi, the Abyssinian Najjar comforter, he took it and he cut a little bit here to make it the eye, and here to make an ear, and here a little bit nose, and here a little bit stomach, and he give it to you to worship and put food in him. And ask him for help. And then take him, put in your bag, and carry with you wherever you go. And then take him out and worship him. And when you throw in the fire, will burn. You say, how can you do such a thing? She give the man hujjah aqliya. Because that's what they was doing in Jahiliyyah. So he say, if you want, go to the Prophet ﷺ and accept the Islam. And then that is my mahr. So he went to the Prophet. When the Prophet saw him, Firasat al-Rasul, soon he saw him, he said, إِنِّي لَأَرَى غُرَّةَ الْإِسْلَامِ بَيْنَ جَبِينِهِ. I see the ghurra, the nur of Islam in his forehead before he can give the shahada. So that was Sulaim, Habibi. She was unique in her knowledge, in her thabat. She was so amazed, the patience what she had. There is no woman had the patience. You remember after she got married with Abu Talha and Ansari, Allah gave them a child, Aba Umayr. The one who Prophet called him Aba Umayr. The little boy. And Abu Talha was loving him so much. He was playing with him. And then he was traveling. When he traveled one time for the business, because he was a businessman, Aba Umayr got very sick. To the position, he passed away. He died. So the family in the house, they screamed. So Sulaim was so angry. He said, if anybody screaming will be, whoever wants to be from this house, he cannot raise his voice in my house. And I don't want anybody to open his mouth to tell Abu Talha before me. So she prepared her son in a corner. She made the house warm. She made the best food. She dressed perfect, perfume, everything. When Abu Talha came, she welcomed him. Food was ready. Happy, hug. He said, how's my son? He said, huwa askan ma yakun. She didn't lie. She said, he is the best calm you ever can find him. Which means you don't have to bother. So Abu Talha said, alhamdulillah, as soon as the child is sleeping, relaxed, he is the best condition and calm, so I don't have to bother. So she spent the night with his husband, make him happy, enjoy. And in the morning, before the Fajr, look how she used the aql, habibi. Ajib woman, wallahi. She said, listen, I have amazed, ajibtu biljari had. I'm amazed with our neighbor. He said, what for? He said, one of the neighbor, he took something for, just to use it from this neighbor. And then when the neighbor went to ask him for that kind of thing, pot, whatever, back, he didn't want to give it to him. You think it's right? And Abu Talha, no, I said, it's not right. That belonged to him. He just gave him to use. And it belonged to him. He said, really? He wasn't. He said, of course it's his. When somebody gives you something, you have to give him back. He said, if you believe in that Allah, that child, when He give it to us, He took it last night back. So Abu Talha was shocked. Because he's thinking what he has spent all night. And the child was. So he said, Inna lillahi. He was a little bit angry. But he didn't want to feel, how can this woman be such a patient? I didn't imagine the child is dying and you are completely indifferent, even emotional, you cannot do that. But what makes this one? Iman, ya habibi, iman. Hiba, he said, because Allah said, يَهِبُ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ إِنَاثًا وَيَهِبُ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ ذُكُورًا. Whoever give a woman, a boy, whoever gives, he give it to him what? A girl. And he among them, وَيَجَلُ مَنْ يَشَاءُ عَقِيمًا. And among them, they don't have even kids at all. It's his gift. So he went to the Prophet ﷺ after he prepared his child, and he said to the Prophet, what happened? What the Sulaim did to him. So the Prophet ﷺ raised his hand, and he made dua for them. قال اللهم بارك لكما أو لهما في ليلتكما أو في ليلتهما. Oh Allah, bless them in their night. That night when they spent last night together, they was having fun. He said, bless them. And one of the blessings of the dua, the Sulaim was pregnant with a child, was also the Prophet ﷺ named him Abdullah. And that child, Habibi, in Sirah is mentioned, from that child he got 10 boys, all of them ulama of this deen and hufad. All of them was the most hufad of the Medina from this child of Sulaim, from the istijab for barakat al-dua of the Prophet ﷺ. Yes, it's grandchildren. So Habibi, this is the Sulaim. This is the woman, Habibi. Look how her life, the way how, and the biggest sacrifice he did, imagine to go back to Anas ibn Malik. Soon the Prophet came in Medina. What she did? She went to the Prophet ﷺ in the time when her husband was dead. She was alone. She had Anas only. Because I'm talking about the story later on. But before, when Medina came, she was alone. And she said to the Prophet ﷺ, here's my son. I want to be yours. She went to the Prophet and said, Ya Rasulullah, all the people from Ansar and the woman, they give you something, gift, hadiyah. She said, I don't have anything to give you hadiyah, but I have this child to be your khatib. She's smart lady, she chose the best. And he said, and I want from you to make dua to him, for him. So the Prophet said, Allahumma barik lahu fi malihi wa awladihi wa barik lahu fi umrihi. And he make the dua for Anas. Look, Habibi, she always hit the big target. She doesn't look for a cheap. No, she wants something big. Now the question is, how can this woman give the child in this age to be in a strange house? First of all. Second, what makes this child to accept Habibi? You imagine you 10 boy child and say, now you go and be khadim to the masjid. Or send him somewhere in a school to learn the deen of Allah. And he's happy to stay there. He's not happy to come 1 hour in Quran class, Habibi. You will think he will be happy 10 years. So subhanallah. So this is Habibi, the qudwa, how the woman trained this child. So let's go back to the Anas ibn Malik radiallahu anhu. So when he went to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Anas said, my Umar was 10 years. The Prophet, when he came in Medina, he was 10 years. And when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam died, he was 20 years. Radiallahu anhu. So he was with the Prophet ﷺ for 10 years straight. He was missing the Prophet ﷺ so much. So when he came and he saw the nur of the Prophet ﷺ, he couldn't refute. That's why Abdullah ibn Salam, he said when the Prophet ﷺ, how can he refute Habibi? How can you refute this kind of person? Abdullah ibn Salam said when the people came in Medina, the Prophet came in Medina, everybody was waiting, So when they saw the Prophet, every person ran towards the Prophet ﷺ. And he said, and I ran also. He said, Wallahi, when I saw him, عرفت أن هذا ليس الوجه الكذاب. He said, I saw right away in his face, because this face cannot be a face of a liar. When he saw the Prophet, he said, no way. Soon he saw, this one was the Prophet of Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Anas ibn Malik, min al-Ansar, he was telling us some of the qualities of the Prophet of Allah. Hadith fi Sunan al-Tirmidhi, قال خدمت النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم 10 سنوات 10 سنين فما قال لي أف قط. I served the Prophet for how many years? 10 years. He said, Wallah, he never said to me uff. أو ما قال لي لشيء صنعته لما صنعته. Neither he told me if I did something, why you did this? ولا لشيء إن تركته لما تركته. Even if I leave something, he said, why you left it? Habibi, 10 years. You know what the 10 years mean? Do you have khadim or worker in 10 years with you and you never say to him, oof? Sheikh Ahmed, how many years away? So, how can it be? You know what I'm saying? هذا هو الرسول حبيبي يعني أكرم الخلق. So he goes on, he says كان الرسول أحسن الناس خلقا, the best akhlaq I can ever see. And also he's going on, he says ما لمست ديباجا قط ولا حريرا قط ولا شيء كان ألين من كف رسول الله. He said, I didn't touch any harir, how they have silk, or any soft thing. So anything which is so soft to be softer in the hand of the Prophet ﷺ. He said, وَلَا شَمَمْتُ, neither I smell any author or any misk who can be more beautiful smell and the araq of the Prophet of Allah. Araq. Sulaim, when the Prophet sometimes was going to Sulaim and taking nap, and usually when the Prophet was taking nap, his forehead was sweating. So she was taking the karura, the pot she used for misk, and she's taking it, the araq of the Prophet, to put it there and to smell the whole house. هذا هو رسول الله شيخ. So هو كان خادمه. So he's telling us about the akhlaq of the Prophet ﷺ. So Anas ibn Malik, he was min fuqaha. And Medina, how can only be, imagine 10 years to your teacher be Muhammad ibn Abdullah. What you expecting, Habib? That's why he was one of the biggest of Sahaba of ilm and knowledge. That's why when Anas ibn Malik died, the Tabi'i said, قَدْ مَاتَ نِصْفُ الْعِلْمِ, نِصْفُ السُنَّah is gone. He said, half of the sunnah is disappeared with the death of Anas ibn Malik radiallahu anhu. So this man, Anas ibn Malik, Allah Azza wa Jalla, He blessed him with a long age. He and also with a lot of kids. You know the dua of the Prophet? Anas ibn Malik, he said about himself, there was no from the Ansar in Medina who had more kids than me. And more wealth than me. He doesn't know how much wealth he has. Imagine in his life, he buried from his kids 126 kids when he was still alive. And when he died, he left behind him another 100 kids. Subhanallah. Which kind of woman this guy had? I don't know. That is Anas ibn Malik, Habibi. When in his life, he buried 126. What they died before him, because he lived 80 years after the Prophet's death, which means 103 years. He lived, because he was 10 years when the Prophet came, and then after that he served the Prophet for 10 years, 20, because he was 20 when the Prophet died, and also 80 years after it, or 80 and a little bit, which was over 100 years he lived in Medina. He has a farm, Bustan, كان يؤتي أكلها مرتين في سنة. His fruits, he was producing the fruits 2 times a year. Usually the fruits, they usually come 1 time. His bustan from the barakah, that was 2 times a year, Habibi. Hada Sahabi, he narrated from the Prophet 2,285 hadith. 285. Hadith muttafaq alayha, في البخاري المسلم, he was 180. 286. What the Bukhari and Muslim agree upon it, 180 hadith. And Bukhari by itself, 80 hadith. And Muslim by itself, 90 hadith. Because he was busy with the khidmat of the Prophet. What do you mean 2,296 is little? It's more than Aisha, Sheikh. 86. Yes. So anyway, Anas ibn Malik, he was with the Prophet in Ghazwatul Badr, but he was a young boy. He wasn't in Ma'rakah. He was serving with the Prophet in a Ma'rakah, in Ghazwatul Badr. And also he was in also Bayatul Ridwan, And he is under the ayah when Allah says, لَقَدْ رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ إِذْ يُبَايِعُونَكَ تَحْتَ الشَّجَرَةِ وَعَلِمَ مَا فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ. So he was among those people who was under the tree when they give the oath to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So Anas ibn Malik, ya ikhwan, when he's telling to us the akhlaq of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he tried to describe who the Prophet was. Because the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Habibi, he was the best man you can find in any way. As a man, as a father, as a husband, as a leader, as a teacher. Imagine Anas ibn Malik say, one time the Prophet told me to go do something. Hadith is Muslim. This hadith all Anas narrated. So I don't have to tell you Abu Hurairah. Anas narrated for himself. So he say, I saw a kids playing and I joined them in a play. I forgot what the Prophet told me. He said, after I was praying, I saw a shed, a ring behind me. And somebody touched me by my foot. She said, when I turned, I saw the Prophet laughed, smiled at me, said, Ya Unais, you know, Ya Anas, Unais, يعني تصغير. هل ذهبت لقضاء الحاجة? Did you went? He said, لا يا رسول الله أذهب الآن. He said, no, Ya Rasulullah, I will go now. Look the honesty, Habib. Look at the young boy, but he doesn't lie. He didn't say, I was there, but he wasn't there, you know. And the guy was close. No, Habib, you say, no, I'm going now. But they say, the Prophet, I looked at the Prophet, he's smiling in his face and say, Ya Unais. Imagine, Habib, if you send your child somewhere, or I'm not talking about your child, because maybe your child will love, has mercy, but about khadim, or worker, and he's hanging up somewhere else. How you feel? Subhanallah. This Prophet of Allah, the akhlaq of the Prophet, the Sheikh, nobody can describe. Anas is tried, but the akhlaq of the Prophet, only Allah can describe. That's why when they asked Aisha radiallahu anha about the akhlaq of the Prophet, could she describe? She couldn't. He said, did you read Quran? He said, yeah, from cover to cover. She said, that is the akhlaq of the Prophet. How can I tell you? Where I'm going to start? So Allah, He has purified him in everything. And you see the ayat. Allah zakkahu fi aqlihi. Allah zakka the Prophet in aqlihi and said, ma dhalla sahibukum wa ma ghawa. زكاه في بصره قال ما زاغ البصر وما طغى. يا شيخ, are you sleeping over there?
No, I'm ready.
Yes, okay. زكاه في فؤاده قال ما كذب الفؤاد ما رأى. زكاه في صدره قال ألم نشرح لك صدرك. زكاه في علمه قال علمه شديد قوة. زكاه في حلمه قال بالمؤمنين رؤوف رحيم. زكاه كله وقال وإنك لعلى خلق عظيم. So the ulama says to the Prophet, carry on this quality from Allah. He said this is by mu'jiz, a miracle by itself. To carry this honor, this praise from Allah, to be able to carry, he said this is miracle in itself. Allah purified him in everything. So imagine which kind of person, Habibi, we follow. We have to be proud day and night. The Shaykh, I don't understand. How can we hide this name of the Prophet ﷺ and put it maybe like the guy, you remember Muhammad Ali? He put when they put the star in Hollywood over there, he said, no, I don't want it to put in earth. I want you to put me, because I carry a name, cannot be stepped on it. So this is the only star. He put it where, if anybody goes there, he's in the wall to see it. But this is not enough. This name doesn't deserve to be in the wall. It should be in your heart, Habib. It should be in your life. Should be carried on everywhere you go. Wallahi, that is the thing what we miss it, because we don't know who is the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Anas ibn Malik, that's why he tells us he was the best in his character. So he learned from the Prophet so many stuff. That's why Anas ibn Malik was ahsanu sahaba khuluqan wa rifqan wa karamat. He was very kind. Because he was living with the Prophet. He saw the akhlaq of the Prophet. So he was one of the softest Sahaba. And he was telling us the karam of the Prophet. He said, مَا سُئِلَ النَّبِي صَلَّى عَنْ شَيْءٍ فِي الْإِسْلَامِ إِلَّا أَطَاعَ. He said the Prophet never been asked about somebody in Islam except he give it to him. Arabi came to him and he saw between two valleys, full of sheep. And he said, Rasulullah, I need that. Can you give it to me this? Those sheep, the Prophet said, took it. Take. The guy took it. He was so happy. He went to his qawm and said, Ya qawm aslimu. فإن محمد يؤتي عطايا لا تشخى منه الفقر. He said, the Prophet, he gives. This person gives. He will never be poor. I mean, you don't have to worry about to be poor. Prophet doesn't need nothing of this dunya, Habibi. He was Kareem. This was the qualities of the Prophet. More than that he was not just Kareem, he was also Shuja'. One of the hadiths in Bukhari and Muslim, there was a sound came in Medina, big sound. So the people came all out and to look for what the sound coming from and going through the sound. And by the time they're going, they see the Prophet is coming back. He say, don't worry, go back. And the Prophet was in a horse of Abi Talha with what they call on top of the horse, that saddle, nothing, was like this, and the sword was next to the neck over there, and he's coming back. So he went by himself, Habibi, just to see what this noise coming, because they was doing the night, so the people of Medina can be in sleep, and they was coming out, he was coming back, he said, don't worry, I take care of it, it was nothing, inna wajadnahu bahra, just go back. So subhanAllah, Shuja', Shuja' Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, as we know, if you read about Shuja' al-Person, you don't have you cannot even finish it till morning. So كذلك أنس بن مالك تعلم من ابتسام السر. One of the hadith in Sahih Muslim, Anas bin Malik, he say, I want to play with the kids. And the Prophet, he came to me and said, go and finish one job. So he went to finish the job, and by the time he finished, he went to the home, and he was already late. So the mom said, where you been? He said, I have to take care of something of the Prophet. Which kind of, what's thing? He said, no. هذا سر النبي. فقال أحسنت. قال لا تكشف سر النبي. Keep secret, never show the secret of the Prophet ﷺ. Habibi, they were teaching the kids to keep the secret. Today, but what happened today, Habibi, with the secret? Our secret, Habibi. Our secret. He said, man, I have to tell you something, man, but don't tell nobody. Because he told me don't tell nobody. So he told me don't tell nobody. What is this? What is this? Subhanallah. That's what the Prophet قال إن من شر الناس منزلا يوم القيامة رجل يفضي بأهله أو بإمراته ويكشف لها سرها. The worst creation among the people is the person who goes with his wife or doer, and then he goes and exposes her sir. Today the woman sitting with her husband, then goes to her mom and tells to her mom everything what she has done with the father in a room. And if she doesn't tell you, you don't trust me, you keep it secret from me. How dare you can do that? Subhanallah. And they get angry if the mother doesn't hear. So this Habibi, opposite. Or from the son. So this is our deen, Habibi. It's full with etiquettes. Wallahi, if you keep this put in your life, this is the package where you will have no stress, no psycho problem, no need for rehabilitation and all this. None of that, Habibi. You have the medicine, the package is all there. Just follow the rules, you will be the best person. Sahabi, Habibi, he divorced a woman. And the man went to him and said, why you divorced the woman? He said, man, I'm not allowed to tell you why, because she's still under the Iddah. She's still my wife. And after the Iddah was passed, the guy didn't have intention to bring her back. And the people say, now she's not your woman. Now tell me why. Why did you divorce her? He said, but now she's my sister in Islam. She must now belong to the bigger category because she's Muslim. I'm not allowed to talk about the behind of my sister Muslim because she's the woman of somebody else. That's how they was keeping the community healthy, Habibi. That's why the munafiqeen was knowing right away, by numbers. Because they are the one who was bringing this kind of tashiyah fawahisha bayna an-nas. Amma mu'min couldn't do that. But now you have so much, you don't know even who is munafiq anymore and who is mu'min. Because everybody is falling in this sickness and disease. That's why Anas bin Malik radiallahu anhu, بعد ما مدت الأيام, he's talking to us about the death of the Prophet ﷺ. I tried to finish it because we want to go to the Ahkam. في سنة الصحيح حديث الترمذي قال لما كان يوم الذي دخل النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في المدينة أضاءت منه كل شيء. That day when the Prophet came in Medina, he said that all Medina was shining. ولما كان يوم مات فيه النبي ظلمت منها كل شيء. فوالله ما أفضنا بأيدينا عن التراب حتى كرهنا قلوبنا أو أنكرنا قلوبنا. So he said when the person died, he said the Medina was completely dark. He said we couldn't clean our hands from the dust of the Prophet after we buried him until we hate ourselves. Some of the Sahaba, they fall and they didn't get up. Some of them were sitting and they didn't want to stand. Some of them was threatening the people if anybody says the Prophet is dead. Some of them say no, he went to Allah like Musa. And some of them, he left the deen completely. The Medina was mess. Voila. And Anas might tell us what happened because Habibi, the Nur was gone. Hada Siraj Munir. So Anas Malik is saying, we was started hating ourselves. How can we do such a thing? How can we throw turab in the face of the Prophet? And say, when the Aisha Fatima say, كيف طابت أنفسكم? How can you so handle you to put dust on the face of the Prophet? He say, Anas says, والله أنكرنا أنفسنا لكن ما فعلنا إلا ما أمرنا النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أن نفعل به. We didn't do except what the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم told us to do. But it was difficult for them. So Anas and Malik, after this, the Prophet died, but he had that, what we're supposed to have. Because the Prophet died, the Sunnah of the Prophet didn't die. It was still there. That's why the Prophet قال تركت فيكم شيئين ما إن تمسكتم بهما لن تضلوا بعدي. I have given you two things. If you hold on it, you will never be misled. Don't worry about the darkness and the bulumat. أنت مع السراج المنير. What is that? كتاب الله وسنتي. And the Prophet, he ordered to hold strong in this if you want to be. Because after the siraj is gone, then you are in darkness. Only way you can be saved if you have a light to behold on it. And there is no light beside the book of Allah and the Sunnah of the Prophet. Soon as people left the Sunnah, Habibi, then the deviation starts, the sex starts, the group starts, the fitness starts, the killing starts. And it never stopped till today. And that is the reason of the living of the Sunnah. That's why Prophet قال تركتكم على منهاج البيضاء ليلها كنهارها لا يزيغ عنها إلا هالك. So this is some of the stuff of Anas ibn Malik when he left Aish with the Prophet ﷺ, and he left, like I say, he lived after the Prophet how many years? 80 years رضي الله عنه. قيل العلماء العمر لا يقاس بالأيام التي عشتها لكن يقاس بالأعمال التي قدمتها. Yeah, he left long life, but doesn't mean because he left the Umar cannot be put in calculation how long you live. It can put in how much you work, what you live. Then Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam قال خير الناس من طال عمره وحسن عمله. خير الناس is the one whose age is long and also his good deeds is a lot. But if you live long and your sayyi'at is long, then what's the barakah that Umar? So يقول أبو هريرة رضي الله عنه about أنس بن مالك قال والله ما رأيت أحدا أشبه بصلاة الرسول مثل أنس. So I never see anyone to pray close to the prayer of the Prophet ﷺ the way how the Anas bin Malik was praying. Of course. He was with the Prophet 24/7. And also Anas ibn Sirin قال كان أنس أحسن صلاة في الحضر في حضر وسفر. Anas was the best person in a prayer regardless traveling or he is a present. كانت ثمامة كان أنس يصلي حتى تتفطر قدماه. Did this remind you of somebody? Huh? He was praying until his leg was swollen, blood. You can see blood was flowing down. Who was doing this? Prophet Qudwa. He knew the teacher what he did, so he didn't left any of this. And one of the things that Anas bin Malik, one of the karamat, which Imam al-Dhahabi said, this karamat has been compiled by all the ulama bi asanid al-sahiha. One of the karamat of Anas bin Malik, he was mustajab al-da'wah. If you raise your hand, they take. The group of the people can say, he said, there is a place of your farm is completely dry, and the crops are allowed to die. The crops, the fruits. So Anas went, and he prayed, and he raised his hand. and the rain started coming right away. So his Anas said to the people, say, go and see where the rain is falling. He said, Wallahi, we went and we find the rain is falling right only in this place. Nothing around. Only in this place. Because it was in the time of when there was no rain. So he only in this place. And one of the karamat of Anas ibn Malik, after the death of the Prophet, قال أنس ما من ليلة إلا وأنا أرى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وكان يبكي رضي الله عنه. He said there is no night passed except the Prophet was coming to him in a dream. This is Anas ibn Malik. He was loving the Prophet so much, he wants to be with him in Jannah. Imagine when Arabi came and he said, Ya Rasulullah, meta sa'a? When is the Qiyamah? So the Prophet, he doesn't care what is Qiyamah, what you have prepared. He wants to see the fruit. قال ماذا عددت لها؟ ما لك وللساعة? What you have prepared for Sa'a? So the Sahabi say, Ya Rasulullah, I don't have nothing more. But I have one thing. I have just a regular prayer. No extra Qiyam, extra Sa'a. لكني أحب الله ورسوله. I love Allah and His Messenger. فقال ابسام أنت مع من تحب. يقول أنس والله ما فرحنا والله ما فرحنا فرحا بعد الإسلام مثل هذا الفرح. We was never happy after the Islam more than this news. And Anas said, well, every time he was right, he said, والله إني أحب الله وأحب الرسول وأبو بكر وعمر وعثمان. And I ask Allah to be with them. So Habibi, that's what the Sahaba was making. And we also, we say we love Allah and His Messenger and the Sahaba and all of them. And we ask Allah to be with them even though we cannot do the job what they have done. لكن الله عز وجل برحمته وليس بعمله. كان أنس دائما هكذا because he thought if I do this then I will get in Jannah. Man came to the Anas and say لا يجتمع في القلب الحب علي وعثمان. Because in a heart cannot be together the love of Ali and Uthman because there's the fitna of the Khawarij. قال كذبوا. قال they are liars. قال والله نحن جمعنا في حبنا حب العلي وعثمان وأبو بكر وعمر. He said he's a liar. Whoever say because we cannot put two love together in your heart, he said he's كذاب. Anas ibn Malik رضي الله عنه, when he died, one of the tabi'in يقول عن صفوان بن هبير عن أبيه قال لثابت البناني. ثابت البناني telling the story. قال لي أنس إمام مالك هذه شعرة. أنس إمام مالك he said to ثابت البناني, this is the شعرة, the hair from the hair of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم. قال take it and put it under my tongue. So he said I put the hair of the Prophet under his tongue and he died and he was buried with his hair. Because you see, Habibi, to have tabarruk from the hair of the Prophet and clothes of the Prophet, هذا من عقيدة أهل السنة والجماعة. So he was saving that hair of the Prophet. He couldn't have anything because he's in Basra and he said, he doesn't want to lose it, put it under my tongue because he was in the end of his life because he died in the time of Ta'un when the disease was killing, disease was spread. So رضي الله عنه توفي سنة 91 وقيل سنة 92 وقيل 93 من الهجرة. 91 or 90 or 92 or 93 of the Hijrah في البصرة رضي الله عنه وارضاه. And Habibi, who can be like Anas? And then he was serving the Prophet of Allah, yes? Why do you think to serve the Prophet is over? Aisha, to serve the Prophet is over? No, it's not over, Habibi. He was serving the Prophet when he was alive. But you can serve the Prophet ﷺ and his sunnah even though he's dead. قل هذه سبيلي أدعو إلى الله على بصيرة أنا ومن اتبعني يا شيخ. So Allah told the Prophet, tell to them, say this is my path. أدعو, I call the people to this path. Khadim al-Sunnah, Khadim al-Quran. Do you remember when the ulama, when they write, they say Khadim al-Sunnah wal-Quran? You can be Khadim of the Quran, Habibi. And you can get the same ajr. Because he was khadim of Rasul, because he saw the beauty of the Prophet. But to you be khadim of his sunnah and you never saw him, that's why you deserve to be rahimallahu wa dittu law ra'aytu ikhwani. Everybody has a share in this deen. What's wrong? How hard is to you memorize the word of the Prophet to have in your chest? How hard is to you memorize the word of Allah and share it with somebody? If you cannot share with the knowledge, you can share with the tapes, you can share with the books, you can share with something else. You can share by bringing your child and learn the deen of Allah. Or you can share this deen with any ways you can do, Habibi. And be proud. This is the khadim of the sunnah, Habibi. To you be among those people, Wallah, it doesn't require from you too much. Only what's required you, Habibi, to say, in yuhibbullah wa rasul. If you love Allah, there is nothing hard anymore. Wallahi, there is nothing hard. To somebody having in his hand the word of the Prophet, and he say, I don't want to memorize these words. It's coming in Femi Sharif, coming from the mouth of the Prophet of Allah. Sahaba, there was not to memorize the word, Habibi. The Prophet who was making wudu, Hadith al-Bukhari. كان سالكم كنا نتقاتل في وضوء النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. You know, he was making wudu and the Sahaba, they was killing each other to get the drop of the wudu. The Prophet was spitting, he was taking and he was putting around his arms. Do you understand, Habibi? That's how the Sahaba is. One of the mushrikeen, when he came to talk with the Prophet ﷺ, and he saw what the Sahaba was doing with this Prophet, he just ran back to the Mecca. He said, Wallahi, don't even try with these people. He said, no way they will let this man go. He said, Wallahi, I went to the all over of the world in that time. He said, I saw the muluk. And I saw how the people that was respecting muluk. But I never saw a person to respect Malik like the Sahaba Muhammad that was respecting Muhammad. It's impossible. He said that no drop of his water was falling down. No spit from his mouth except they was using in their arms. He said, how are you going to mess with these people? And Habibi, today, the guy is scared to put the Sunnah Prophet in his face. Or to put the Sunnah in his body, or to see his wife as his Sunnah, or cover of the eyes. Nothing anymore. What happened? And you really deserve the title to be among the brothers of the Prophets of Allah. Habibi, these stories we have, I'm telling you guys, alhamdulillah, you guys, mashallah, ala sunnah, but this story we need to talk to our kids, to our wives, to our daughter, to see who is Sulaim. What she can do if Allah take her son. What she can do if her husband or somebody order her to leave the deen of Allah, to take the hijab. He said, no, you cannot wear jilbab, it's too scary. Put a little bit jeans, you can put a little bit cover, pants, everybody wear it. And he can, even if the daughter wants to wear hijab, there's no way they will allow her. So you have to teach your sister this and your daughter, say, let's be like Sulaim. لا طاف المخلوق في معصية الخالق. Doesn't mean you have to be rebellious. وصاحبها في الدنيا معروفة. You smile and you give them a hug. You say, make dua for me. And you go again in the masjid. You don't have to be arrogant with your parents. You cannot do that. But at the same time, you do not obey in this thing which goes against the deen of Allah Azza wa Jalla. يقول الإمام أنس بن مالك رضي الله عنه mentioning إمام الذهبي في السيرة قال دخلت على براء بن مالك وهو يتغنى بالشعر. أنس بن مالك بالدمشق he said دخلت على براء بن مالك وهو يتغنى بالشعر. أناشيد, we love to memorize أناشيد. Especially now they have a new anashid, the Blackstone or whatever, the hip-hop anashid, Islamic hip-hop. And they memorize it. And they send it to me in a WhatsApp and they say, no, it's good, man. Look how he put the deen in WhatsApp. So he was يتغنى بالشعر. فقال له يا أخي تتغنى بالشعر وقد أبدلك الله به ما هو خير من القرآن. Said, you're wasting your time with the shir. And Allah has given you the book of Allah Azza wa Jal. And I'm telling Habib, you're wasting your time today with all this nonsense. And when you come to the book of Allah Azza wa Jal, it's so hard. They say, can I have 2 pages? Give me 1.5 pages. What about 3 ayahs? Sheikh, I was really busy. Habib, wallahi, you can tell me any excuse you want. Any excuse. Allah is the one who is watching you. But we come to this position, to the hardest thing in our life to be the book of Allah and the deen of the Prophet. And no matter if your boss tells you to work 13 hours, wallahi, you will thank him. You will think, Jazakallah khair, man, I need that money, man. Thanks for you giving me overtime. No problem. You will not say, man, what's this guy trying to take my life? Where's my time of the book of Allah? Where's my time with the hadith? Where's my time? No problem. I'm available 7 days. And even if you want me in Jummah, because I'm Musafir, I'm 6 miles away, so I don't have to pray. You find, either way the hukam comes, either way come to the Sheikh to ask fatwa. But when you come to the deen of Allah, you will find any ways, Habibi, to escape it, because I was busy. May Allah open our heart, Habibi. But قال الزهري التابعي قال دخلت على أنس بن مالك بالدمشق وهو يبكي فقلت وما يبكي قال لا أعرف شيئا مما أدركته إلا هذا الصلاة وهذا الصلاة قد ضيعت. When he came to the Dimashq, he went to the masajid and he see how the people praying, no sufuf, no takbirs, nothing. None of them praying the time. One group come and prays, the other group come later on, second jama'ah, third jama'ah. Now even in Jummah they have 3-4 jama'ahs. So he started crying. He said, I didn't know anything. Anything I didn't know what's left from the Prophet among these people except the prayer. And he said, now even the prayer is gone. So imagine if Anas come in our days, Habibi, and he sees our prayer. What is he going to say? He was crying in the time when the Tabi'een was still there and the Sahabi was still there. So subhanallah, this is some of the story of Anas radiallahu anhu. So when this man, he was the last Sahabi die in Basra. Last Sahabi. Which was from the Sahaba who died in Basra, min al-Sahaba of the min al-Ansar. But there is no, it wasn't the last Sahabi who died as a whole. No, you're talking about the last Sahabi who died in Basra. Abu Tufayl, Amir al-Ghatafani, he was the last Sahabi who died from the whole Sahaba.
When did he die?
He died after close after the death in 100 Hijri Takriban. 100 Hijri, after the death of the Uthman, Abu Tufayl, Amir. So in this case, he was the only Sahabi who lived almost 90 years. He was the last Sahabi who died, and after that there was no more Sahabi left. It was meaning 100 Hijri, that was the end of the whole Sahaba radiallahu anhum wa ardahum. وهذا وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. إن في ذلك لذكرى لمن كان له قلب أو ألقى السمع وهو الشهيد. نعم شيخ.
Anas ibn Malik, is that Imam Malik, rahimahullah, was he from the children of Anas ibn Malik?
No, that is one of the major mistakes when the people saw him, because they think Anas ibn Malik, you think that Malik is the father, Anas is the father of Malik, which is the father of Imam Malik. Anas, no, this is completely wrong, Habib. There is no connection at all, because he was not even from the Tabi'een. He met the kibar al-Tabi'een, he met, but he didn't meet none of the Sahaba.
No, but his Anas ibn Malik,
Ibn Nadr.
right?
Yes. Yeah, but the matching with the name doesn't mean anything. How do you shut off this thing, Sheikh? I forgot that thing.
Very nice.
That's what